here, so we better figure out what we're going to talk about. Everybody's on, they're tuning in, whether you're watching the live or the replay. I know most of you guys are watching the replay. Maybe you're even tuning into the podcast. Maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Who knows, right? They could be watching it anywhere. So, Frazer, you're living the dream now in Dubai, right? I mean,
I'm doing my best. I just watch you and what your family are doing, and you go to different parts of the US and you travel around the world and all that. And I'm just thinking, I need a bit of Rob's life in my life. So I decided to take a leaf from your book, man. You've been going to the gym and hitting it hard. Your kind of rivalrying, is it Chris Hemsworth, Liam Hemsworth? I don't know. They're both massive anyway. So I went to the gym for the first time in like 3 years today. And as I was doing my 3 reps, like one set of 3, I was thinking like, Rob, Sperry, Rob. And that was it. I just did a second Rob and then that was it, mate. So yeah, I'm just taking a leaf out.
Did you like how encouraging I was when you were doing planks and what did I say? I'm like, oh, that's great. I just did my longest plank ever. It was 5.5 minutes. You're like,
yeah.
I hate you.
And I was like, yeah, no, I can get to 30 seconds.
So we'll get it in the training here. We'll get in all the good stuff. But the other question is, I mean, does it feel good? Because I've seen your stories, and I know it's probably to get more engagement. But you're showing nipple slips right and left, like if yourself just at the beach. I mean, it's like every day I'm like nipple slip number 62 from Frazer Brookes, nipple slip number 75. I'm like, this dude must be getting crazy engagement because I know you're the ninja networker and you know how to hack social media. So is that like one of your new tips? Like, well, you females know, we're not going to go there. But is that one of your hacks for the guys, nipple slips?
Yeah, so I have a quota that I have to reach every year. So I aim for 100 nipple slips every year. And this year, because of COVID, I've not been in a situation where I can get away with it. So now I'm in the heat. I'm like, right, bang, there's 1, bang, there's 2, do a boomerang, so it's in and out. Yeah, it's getting a little bit crazy at the moment. But I'm up, as you say, I'm at about 63, 64, so good counting from your end. I like that. I appreciate the tally that you're rocking on there. But yeah, I've got about 30, 35, 36 to go. And I'll be able to relax for the rest of the year.
Big learning lesson there. You got to dream really, really big. And it's also easier to have those nipple slips when the weather's warm, because otherwise we've traveled all over the world. So too much. I mean, last year we spoke in Maui together. We spoke in Dallas. We spoke in the UK a couple times together. I spoke at your event. We did another event together there. We were both in Vegas at GoPro. We were at the Naples at the Top Summit. Yeah. So, I mean, it was all the time. And then this year I was so excited. I was so excited for your event. My wife and I had planned for Christmas. We were going to do the New York scene, and then we were going to do the London scene. And then after that, we were going to your event. Like, she was really, actually, she wasn't excited about your event because she knew you were going to call her out and embarrass her. She was excited about hanging out with you before and after. She was a little embarrassed about that. And then all of a sudden, everything happened. The world just decided, you know what? We haven't had this much chaos in a while. Let's create some chaos. And so, you know, I was literally, let's use your words, gutted. We say devastated here, but gutted sounds appropriate when I'm talking to you. I was gutted. And bummed. But the one thing before we get into this, we're going to talk a lot about all the places we've traveled around the world, some of the greatest learning lessons that we've had of what successful people have in common. Before that, let's let the cat out of the bag, since you can't do the in-person event, which, by the way, I did have a Santa onesie that I was bringing. And yeah, it was a little bit too tight. So yeah, we won't, women call it like camel toes, guys call it moose knuckles, I think. So I wasn't going to go. Yeah. You see how Frazer brings out the worst in me? I mean, best in me? Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell them real quick before we go into this and the good stuff as far as this training goes. You've got your event here the beginning of November. I'm going to drop in the link in the comments and on the front here. But because, I mean, how many? Do you have 70 different speakers? I was counting.
I think we're on 170 now. No. You know what? There's 2 ways you could do an event. It's Success Summit online. It should have been live in person. The first one we had 200 people. Second one, Rob was at, we had 555. Third one we had just under 1,200. Rob was at number 2, number 3, and he was going to be at number 4. We'll have had 2,000 people at Success Summit 4. Obviously, COVID hit, and I don't want to give the haters. We could have the event. I mean, we would be able to get 300 people into a 2,000 person room, but I don't want to give the haters, the network marketing, the anti-network marketers, like, oh my God, they did an event when they shouldn't be. It's just not the right thing to do. So we went online, but now we're able to get a lot more people, reduce the ticket right down. People haven't got airfare, hotels, and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what, 16 hours of content. Right now it's $50 US. I thought I could do 10, 11, 12 hours of it and just have a few friends like yourself and some other people around the world come and kind of share some tips. But I thought, you know what? People listen to me on the podcasts, on the YouTube, like yourself, podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, stories, emails, like all webinars, Zoom calls. I'm like, why can't I go out and handpick some of my favorite stories that I've learned, I've heard of, or helped coach over the last 12 months, and just highlight them and highlight those people. So there's just incredible. I mean, one woman story. I was speaking to her when I went to it. I did an event for her, right? And you know her as well, Rob, Joe Skipsey. So I did an event for her. This woman has a cardboard cutout, life-size cardboard cutout of me and Rob, separate cardboard cutouts that were gifted to her for her birthday in her house, right? So May 2018, I go to her event, and I'd only kind of just really started the whole speaking thing, so I did it for free, turned up, and she had about 50 people in the room, and she was doing 100,000 in volume in her organization, and I was like, wow, this is pretty. 100,000 in volume is good. She's now doing 100 times that. She does it every 7 or 8 hours, and it's stories like that the world don't really know about in the network marketing industry. I want to highlight and get the real relatable stories for people who are just a few years ahead of other people, instead of the crazy stories. And we've got obviously people like yourself who are just master trainers and speakers. And I was so excited. I am so fired up about it. It takes a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of sleepless nights, but it's just so worth it. Just so worth it to help people,
Yeah, it's been my favorite event by far. I mean, I told you that. There's just so much energy there, and you really set that tone. And that's one learning lesson I want to give here in just a second. But it's just one of those things that it makes such a difference. And it's I used to always think I didn't need them. I'm like, oh, macho, and I don't need them. And then all of a sudden, you just don't know. You don't know who you're going to connect with, or what content's going to connect with, or what style, or what personality, or if they can do it, I can do it. Or, I want to be like this person, or I don't want to be like this person, but I want to extract this as you go. And there's just so many different things. And I cannot wait for you to see my presentation. I know it's just going to be 30 minutes, but oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some fun. We always have some
here's my imagination, what I imagine you, right? So you're right. So in my opinion, in my relationship, me and Svetlana, I'm a little bit inappropriate. And then because I see what I can get away with her, right? So I'll say something and she'll laugh. She'll have the laugh of yeah, that's funny. She'll have the laugh of yeah. And then she'll have the laugh of don't do that. Right? You don't do that. I imagine you and your wonderful wife have a similar situation, and you use Success Summit as how far can I go with it? Because it is one of them events. It's a little bit different because we like to have fun. It's definitely a fun event. And last year's presentation, I just remember a picture of a log in a toilet, an actual log in a toilet. That's just stuck with me for many years. And also the gift that you gave me, which, by the way, works extremely well. I recommend you getting it yourself as well. But yeah, it's so much fun, man. So much fun.
They're going to have to tune in to see it all. They're going to have to tune in. So real quick, we've traveled all over the world together. We just listed a bunch of places that we've traveled. If you guys are just tuning in, you're watching this from the live, let us know where you're watching from: city, state, province, country, continent, whatever else you want to let us know. We love seeing that. But the one thing I will tell you is the thing that I've noticed is traveling over the world, and I'd love to hear some of the things. I know similar things because you and I we're chatting every single day on different things. Do you see that? Do you see that? I'm working on this. What do you think about this? Thoughts on that? We're always collaborating. Is all the leaders everywhere we go have this huge amount of energy. And I think so many people misinterpret that energy as they got to be the person that's the extrovert. They got to be the person that's loud and yelling. And there's different variations of energy. You know, Frazer has as much energy as anybody you've ever met. And that's a good learning lesson from him. When you go to his event and you see his event, when you watch his event online and you register for that, you start seeing this energy. And that's the one thing I want you to pay attention for all of you that are going to be watching, hopefully every single one of you, the Success Summit. I want you to pay attention to every single leader's energy, because they're all similar, even though they're so different, in the sense that they're all high energy with their own unique style and personality, because the world loves boldness. It makes people curious. It's contagious. And in a world where they're sucked and consumed by so much negative energy, they want that contagious positive energy to follow. And so, you know, that's one big thing I've noticed. And for me, it's helped me up my game for when I'm emceeing events and different things like that, because it's everything. And the fact you can maintain it for so high for a couple of days, like, that's why you're so exhausted after, because it's work. You're like sweating and stuff, but I love it.
It's my version of doing like 1,000 burpees. I just look at energy like there's two things. I think I look at it as a like a bank account, right? It's kind of like a bank account. So your goal is to deposit as much into the bank account and protect it as well. Like a lot of people get it wrong. So like, oh, deposit energy, woo, yeah, and they give so much and they deposit so much energy into their account, but they don't protect their energy at the same time. So there's a lot of people who are like high energy, like let's go. But the people that are around them impact them so negatively by bringing them down, by themselves associating with the wrong people or eating the wrong foods, like too much sugar, too much junk. I've been there, guys. Like I've been there. Drinking the wrong things. There's too much bad habits, and they get their energy grows, their bank account grows, but it gets withdrawn so much because they don't protect it that they actually end up getting burnt out and they can't sustain the level of energy that they've got. So when you see the people who are, and it's kind of not a coincidence where you see a lot of people who are crushing it online, they have high energy online as well. They're you times two, right? We could name so many people. And you would go, yep, tick, 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 tick. But they know how to create energy and deposit into their energy account. But they also know the more important thing is protecting your energy. And to be honest with you, Rob, it's one of my core beliefs and fundamentals and lessons that I've learned is protect your energy at all costs. It's one of the most important things that you've got. If you've got low energy, you attract, illness and sickness and negativity. If you protect the energy and keep it high, then you're usually all right. But I think it's definitely one of the things that I've identified. So one thing that I do, and I encourage everyone to do this, go to events just to start doing what I'm going to tell you now. So I started going to events since I was in the womb, right? I was in the womb at my mum and dad's first ever presentation in network marketing, right? And what I started to establish, my dad told me, he said, right, what I want you to do, and this was when I was 7 years old, just about to turn 8 years old. I want you to sit in the room and you're going to be the scorekeeper. Right? And all I want you to do is write the guy's name and the number next to the guy out of 10. 1 being really bad, 10 being amazing. Now, the first time I did it, I only gave a 1 or a 10, right? If it was bad, I gave a 1. If it was a 10, I didn't understand the scale that he wanted me to do. And he came home and he's like, no, I didn't mean 1 or 10. I meant 1, like through 10. All right, okay, Dad, I didn't know. So every single time from that day onwards, I used to score speakers out of 10. And then when I was about 9, my dad used to say, now I want you to give me a reason why you have given that score, like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. And I started to identify what I felt was a good speaker. And I started to identify humor was definitely up there. Engagement, like when they got the crowd to put their hand up or shout or whatever, that was definitely there. So humor, engagement, and then also energy, like the delivery of how they say it. And it's just over the years that I started to think, you know what, I think I could implement something like that. And I've just modeled what other people have said and I start to tune in. I watch the comedy shows to see how they deliver the jokes. I watch other events and I've learned so much from you as well. I know you and I have spoke about like getting comfortable with the uncomfortable voices, right? And characters that we talk about. And And
No, that was a great tip that you gave. That's actually you talked about Joe earlier. That's her favorite. She asked me to do a training every 6 months so I can come on and do my "Hey girl" impersonation.
yeah, it's just fun. And I think it takes some time to get. I mean, you and I have spoken, been all over the world, like building businesses and speaking on stage and being paid to speak on stage and all of that. And I just think the energy is what makes people you just become more likable when you've got so much energy, because people are just drawn to it, right? I think the sun is the biggest source of energy there is. And I mean, I've moved to Dubai just so that I can see the sun for 330 days of the year instead of being in the UK where I see it for 90 days a year. Like, it's just energy. It's just, and I want to be around it. It's contagious. It's fun. So yeah, it's a fun journey, man. Energy is everything. You get a lot of that success from online. That's for sure.
It's been fun. So what are some other things that you've seen with, I know you work with a ton of top leaders and top companies, and you're able to hang out with them, but also then see them in action and see what works. What are some other commonalities that you've seen from the most successful leaders? And all of you that are tuning in right now, just know this, that it's truly, as Tony Robbins talks about, it's all about progress. The definition of happiness is progress. That's it. Some days you walk, some days you jog, some days you crawl, but your whole goal is just a little bit of progress every day. And I think too many times we think either we're good at something or we're not, or I can't do that. Frazer and I are naturally introverts, but we're whatever the crap we want to be. If we want to be an extrovert, like right now, then that's what we are. That's not our nature, but you can be whoever you want to be. And that's taken both of us a long time to learn. So what are some other insights from top leaders that you've seen, commonalities?
I would say that this is one thing that I've started to realize and identify. We talk about vision, we talk about vision, we talk about belief, we talk about having a plan, we talk about clarity and all this. And it clicked the other day for me. It was like, the people who seem to be extremely successful are very consistent. And then I start to look at, like, well, consistency, obviously. I knew he was going to say that. But I started to look at, like, why am I so consistent? Why is Rob so consistent? Why are other people and other leaders so consistent? And I started to realize, I thought, right, okay. Well, number one, I know Rob's vision for his future self, because we talk like every day about different things. I know my vision for my future self, but I believe that you guys, and if you want to share it, like, feel free to let me know what your vision for your future self is in the comments, simplified version. But, like, I have this vision of my future self, and a lot of people have a vision for the future self. But if you don't have the belief or the clarity and the plan that you have to make that happen, you won't do it. Like, oh, I want to be $1 million income earner, but I don't really believe in what I'm doing. I don't believe in the system. I don't believe in my posts. I don't believe in my upline. Don't believe in the products. Don't believe in the company. Don't believe in the videos. Like, and if you don't believe in it, you're not going to do it. Whereas, like, Rob and myself, we have this vision for our future self, and the belief and the clarity and the plan to get there is so on point that we do it every single day. Where the majority of people, and the same with top income earners, the majority of people, they've got this vision for themselves right up here, but their belief and the clarity and the plan is down here. So there's so much of a gap. So it's just not going to happen. That, for me, is one of the biggest things that I've started to realize. Top income earners, they know their plan. They believe in the plan, but they're also tweaking the plan as well. They're also constantly, I mean, you have the best mastermind that I've ever been to. I've been to so many masterminds over the years, whether there've been ones that I've been a part of, ones that I've spoke at, ones that I've gone to learn from, all different types, from marketing to network marketing to advertising to videos and all this sort of stuff. And the one that I only went to the one in Maui, and you've done so many since then and so many before then. But that was just unbelievable. Like, the value, I mean, you got the value in the first session, and there was so many sessions. But yeah, I think the vision, believing in the vision and the plan, mentorship, masterminding, even if it's your own team, and you just go and contact 2 or 3 of the top income earners in the company and just say, hey, I'm up and coming. Would it be okay if I bought you virtual lunch? right? Whatever it is, you get on a Zoom call, you join them, you go on Deliveroo in their area, whatever, you deliver it to their house, whatever it might be, and say like, hey, lunch on me. And you have 10 minutes of their time, just mastermind it. Me and Rob do it all the time. We're just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's how we grow. So yeah, mentorship, masterminding, and believing the vision for sure have been the big things that I've started to see the top income earners are really doing, and what's making them get to where they've got to right now.
It's funny when you talk about the consistency. We've become so obsessive in consistency that and it obviously stems from, like Frazer just said, the vision, but we sometimes struggle to break consistency, even if it's for doing something better. And I'll give you an example. So Frazer had done his Facebook lives and hadn't missed, I don't know, 500 something straight lives. And for him, he's trying to figure out a new way to reinvent. And sometimes you just got to change things up. And even though he wanted to, and even though forever he wanted to shift to doing more on his business page, right? At first it was tough because he's like, I say I'm going to do something and it's like done forever. And I'm the same. We say we're going to do something and it's done forever. And so we became where we had the opposite problem of being so stuck on the same consistency, right? Where I wasn't thinking of that until you started talking. And then I started just thinking of like all the different things where like, it's just always consistently adapting. But discipline isn't to take away from everything you've ever wanted. It's to give you everything you ever wanted. And when you can understand that, then you can truly understand that you're going to get what you truly want when you can really just create the schedule that you need to have, the consistency that you need to have. And yeah, you got to go find that mentor. And for me, the beginning, a lot of them were virtual mentors, right? I'm listening to the Jim Rohns of the world and all the incredible speakers and trainers. And then from there, you get to know some others and you start asking them for help. And then you start investing into yourself. And so it's such a big deal. I know you do that, with your events, you do that with your inner circle, you do that with everything. And that's just something that's so big. So
crazy.
What would you say, Frazer, if someone came to you and they said, I want to have my best month ever. Just I'm willing to do whatever it takes. My wives made me cry 8 times in the last 6 minutes, and I'm trying to keep a straight face. And I am just willing to do whatever it takes. So you tell me right now what I need to do to have my best month ever.
Well, I think it starts with making a switch. I think you've got to really think about it in the way of, if I had to do it, what am I prepared to do? Like, not like if I want the goal, if I need the goal, like if I actually had to do it, I have to hit the goal. Like, what am I going to do? And a lot of people will say, I'll do whatever it takes. There's a lot of stories in network marketing of the people who are so close from ruin and bankruptcy, or they were in ruin, and they made it happen because they had to make it happen. So I think the first thing is to establish, are you actually prepared to go all in fundamentally and make it happen? And that's 100% the first step. I think the second thing is to focus 100% on personal production. I think Gary Vaynerchuk is a very controversial figure, especially inside the network marketing industry, right? So for those, I'm not going to go into the full details. There are other people out there who are being extremely controversial in the network marketing industry right now, right? We can maybe talk about that one. I don't even know if it's allowed to mention that. But Eric Worre went to Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk told him, do a video every single day. Now we all know the Eric Worre brand, right? People talk about him whether you're in the room or not. Then he kind of comes the other way around and says like, not really a big fan of network marketing, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because in order to succeed, you need other people to be successful. And he believes you should be in full control of your own production and your own success. Whereas to me, I get the most amount of fulfillment, which fulfillment to me is success because it creates happiness and progression and all that, by helping other people successful. That's the whole model, right? You help other people succeed so you can succeed. But when it comes to you having your best month ever, I really, really, really believe personal production. Get the timer out, track what you're doing, set personal best. Like, for example, Rob used to play a bit of tennis. I don't know how well, but I think you could probably beat me with the handle of the racket. versus me actually using the full racket. Maybe that's definitely going to be, we're definitely going to have to do that at some point. But like, in order for him to get better, he has to know like how fast his first serve is and how fast his second serve is and how many double faults he gets. If you track the metrics, you can improve, right? Usain Bolt doesn't just start on the starting line of 100 meters and just goes, and the coach goes, go. And then he runs and the coach goes, that was really fast, Usain. And Usain Bolt's like, well, like how fast? He's like, oh, I don't know, I've never seen you run that fast. It's like, well, was it under 9.71 seconds? And he goes, I don't know. Like, it was just really fast. I didn't time it. How does he know he's going to get better? So I don't believe in necessarily making your best month. I just believe in making better months, month after month after month after month, which brings back to what you were talking about progression. So make the decision of what are you prepared to do if you had to do it, and then focus 100% on personal production in the AM, right? So AM before noon is just personal production, right? It's just personal production. Then after 12 p.m. noon is PM, which is then you can get into your team management and all that sort of stuff. You know, people say management mode. I mean, you have to have some level of management at some point, right? But yeah, the players are where you want to be. People turn up to the games to watch the players, not to watch the managers. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'd do. The basics. You don't really need to get into all the finer details. It's just making the decision and sticking to it, committing to what you said you're going to do.
I'll finish with this.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, let's use a graphic analogy, and this is just to make a strong point. If the person that you love the most was struggling to live, and the only way that they could live is if you went out and you made 200 contacts, you wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
So I know that's pretty extreme and it can't be that, but that gives you, the vision is so clear there. And that's what Frazer's saying is the problem is when people don't have to, but they want to, then usually they keep defaulting into someday or tomorrow or the next day, and then it never happens for them. And so, you know, it's key and critical for you to create that own urgency and your own deadlines to really make it happen. So why don't you tell everybody again, give one last 30-minute, we'll call it spiel on why Success Summit is the best thing. And I'm going to tell them, I'll just tell you guys, I said it's my favorite event because it's so fun. It's so insightful. You're going to have so many takeaways. You're going to have so many different speakers. It's crazy. You should raise the price by like 10 times, but I guess, you know, you're just going online, going insane value. I don't know if it's going up. I'm not just saying that. When you guys see what it is, it's absolutely crazy for having 70 plus speakers or whatever, how many speakers there are. So it's nuts, my man. But successsummit.info, you're going to want to be on there. And my PowerPoint, I promise you will laugh. If you don't laugh, ask for your money back. And then Frazer will ask me to give your money back, which is fine. We'll do that.
You know what? It's the reason why I got into this whole game was I was tired of the wow and not the how. That's one of the biggest reasons I got into the speaking, coaching, training, like from a generic point of view. I'd go to here's what I want you to know. I am the biggest fan of company events there'll ever be, right? It would be very, very difficult for you to be a bigger fan than myself and Rob and other generic people out there. I love them. They're amazing. You'll get fired up. But here's what usually happens. You go to the event, whether it's online or offline. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, or maybe even Friday, Saturday event. You finish the event. By Wednesday, the motivation's gone. You're not that fired up. The video that got released or the system that got released or a product that got announced or whatever, you've kind of forgot about. The motivation or the energy is kind of sucked out of you. I wanted to flip the switch and I wanted to make it so it was like, right, how do you build on social media? How do you recruit? How do you duplicate? How do you step up to be a leader? How do you improve your mindset? With frameworks, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. But even better, getting results during the 3-day event. So by the time Wednesday comes, you've already paid for your ticket. You've already got your money back. That is why I got into it. And that's what Success Summit is all about. And that's why so many people get the breakthroughs And I've kept it such a low price. There's not VIP tickets. There's not super VIP tickets. There's not unicorn level 32 access tickets. There's none of that. It's just $50 straight down the line. You can get packs of 10 if you want, just so that people can wake up to the industry and be like, oh, I need to run with this. Because like you, I want to make it the best industry there's ever been. So, no.
Well, I appreciate you, my man, and look forward to Success Summit, as well as, I don't know when I'm going to see you in person, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay. And right, we don't know, but it'll happen. We'll have some fun, and we'll be at a who knows what event, where in the world, but it's going to happen. I think next year is going to be a huge year of travel at some point, and I'm excited for that. I know everybody else is, and I'm curious. Everyone else, this is your last question. Where are you going to travel first when you can do a big trip? We're not talking local. We're saying like big deal trip. Where are you going to go? I'm supposed to be leaving to Bora Bora in 2 weeks, but that has been postponed until next year. Instead, I am going to Sedona, Arizona, which is absolutely amazing. It's not Bora Bora, but it's absolutely amazing. As my wife reminds me every day, it's not Bora Bora, but it is amazing. But I'm really excited actually about that, just to get out. So that's what I want you all to answer. Thank you, Frazer. And I cannot wait for Success Summit, my man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Have a great day, everyone.